so you should see the light bulb go on in parents on their faces when you say, oh, they have a chapter that needs to be read. I want you to read that to them, rather than them using their eyes to try to converge on the page and wasting all their energy. They're not going to comprehend what they're reading. Things like visual distractions can be very disorienting for people with head injuries. So I see John nodding. That hopefully nodding off. No, not nodding. When our athletes are in school and walking through the hallway between classes, they have things coming at them, they have things going away from them, and they have things that are stationary on the walls. And they often will even get sick to their stomach because they can't function with that much processing having to be going on in their brain. And so we'll sometimes say, your student needs to be released either 5 minutes early or 5 minutes later so that they're not having to walk through the classroom. We may say, if that student is sitting toward the back of the room normally, and they have all sorts of commotion going on in front of them, and they're trying to focus on a teacher at the front of the room, we may say, hey, this is as simple as let that student move to the front of the class, so everything's behind them rather than in front of them. So things like that can make a big difference.
Just from your research and what you've seen, what are some really long-term effects you've seen from concussions? What is it? Decrease in lifespan? Is it linked to other diseases other than conjunctival harms and protection? Like beyond that, basically, it's too early.
So the question is, what are the long-term effects of concussion, and have there been some studies that have linked concussion to other things later in life? And I think you summed it up right at the end. It's too soon to tell, to be honest with you. Again, I think it's affected by us managing concussions differently than we did even 5 years ago. Our hope, of course, is that we're doing it better than we were 5 years ago. I can tell you, just like Troy was saying, when I was in medical school, I graduated from med school in 1989. We were taught a week tops for everybody. They better be back in there. And it turned out that the research now shows that we were sending 60% of athletes into a very dangerous situation. And so I am obviously hopeful that the research bears that out. I can tell you that concussion research is handcuffed a little bit. And this is not just concussion research, but research in general. And this is kind of a sticking point for me. There are institutional review boards that have to review any research that needs to be done. We, not jokingly, but with tongue-in-cheek a little bit, say the institutional review board is where great ideas go to die. If you want to do research on something and you think it could really help people, unfortunately, there are so many hurdles that need to be cleared now that you may delay that research by years. So.
I think there is some research going on. I just want to know about this. And maybe you knew about it, but the NFL is actually giving university a fair amount of money to research the CTE. And I know out in Boston there's an institute out there that's looking at the long-term effects of chronic traumatic encephalopathy.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The NFL did put money toward it. Part of that was political.
Very
And also, the Impact Center in Pittsburgh was just awarded a $5 million grant from the Department of Defense to study mild traumatic brain injuries. So Dr. Collins and his group are going to be evaluating about 400 soldiers who have had mild traumatic brain injuries. So hopefully we find some of the answers that you're asking.
Are there any tricks that you guys, I see people in black sweatshirts that are probably going to be athletic trainers. I'm sure there's psych students here and pre-med students. You can't see a closed head injury. It just doesn't show. TBIs, organic brain injuries, are there things that these students can look for that, noticing the speech issues, that, are there things that might be clues to them that there is something? I'm Sarah's dad, and it took us a week to figure out that Sarah had one. So, a lot of people are just not attuned to what's going on because you can't see it. There's not bones sticking out. Is there something that these guys can learn that when they get in the field, they'll be able to say, yeah, there really is something that is going on here that I might not realize?
I think you have to be very suspicious of every student athlete. You can't trust what they have to say to you. I trust them as a person, but out on the field of play, you can't trust anything they have to say. I'd rather err on the side of caution and not trust that individual and remove them to spare them that second impact, especially in our age group. Now I lost my train of thought, sorry. If you have something to interject for now, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, there are tools that can be used, and Troy mentioned some of them earlier with certain apps that are on the phone now for SCAT2. SCAT3 is out, where they can do a sideline assessment and say, you basically are testing all sorts of different things with their ability to remember things. If you look at the computerized impact test, it's really broken down into 4 areas: their memory for words and letters, their memory for shapes or spatial orientation. The third thing is something called motor speed or processing speed, which I always say to our parents, that category is your athlete's ability to read directions and follow them quickly and accurately. And then pure reaction time is the 4th thing that computerized test is looking at. So that's one objective way, but on the sidelines, yeah, it can be really difficult sometimes. And I think that this is a shift in learning that it has to happen over the next several years. And that is the whole idea of taking a few minutes to do vestibular ocular testing on your athlete is crucial. I've been a doc for 25 years. I was taught that the neurologic exam on your patient was important. It is not important once you've determined they don't have a life-threatening injury. It is not going to tell you that they don't have a concussion. So you can have a perfectly normal neurologic exam and have a raging concussion going on. But I'll bet you if you have a raging concussion going on, your vestibular ocular testing will be completely abnormal. And I can tell you that of the 30 or 40 docs in our clinic in Cambridge who do primary care and even ER docs, I would say there are 2 doctors in our clinic that understand the importance of vestibular ocular, and that's me and another doc who do concussion management. And that's not puffing me up, it's saying we got a lot of work to do to try to educate not just our training staff that's coming out, but the doctors who are in the emergency departments and the urgent cares are sending people out of the ER saying you can go back in a week. And you see it several times a week, I'm sure, and you're going, do you not read the newspaper? The teaching that you had even 10 years ago is not accurate anymore. So I guess to the athletic trainers here, I would say don't be falsely reassured by a completely normal neurologic exam in your athlete. I can tell you from experience, it will be perfectly normal in 99% of the cases.
I can just touch on that a little too. I run the FFG major here, and we teach neurology